And we are live. Hello and welcome to the Relevate live stream. How are you going, Amanda?
I'm fabulous. And yourself, Haven?
It was very warm, very
Yes,
hot summer in Brisbane at the moment.
it
But
is.
nonetheless, we're here to talk about the Relevate community. So if you've been watching any of our live streams or any of our content, or even looked at any of the YouTube videos or anything, down the bottom in the description, you would have seen something to do with the Relevate community, and we always seem to do a shout out. But what I thought we'd do today is go into a little bit more of a deep dive on what it is, why it's useful, what it's not, equally important, and where we sort of see it going. So I guess I'd like to hear your take on it, if I can.
Okay, sold. So I have always not been a huge fan of traditional networking because it feels hokey and fake and very transactional, right? So I have always been on the lookout for something different, to the point where I actually created my own community and then realized it was probably a lot for me to manage on my own. Ended up shutting that down. And then a gentleman by the name of Paul Kennedy, who deserves a shout out on the stream today, told me about the Relevate community. And he's like, Amanda, you would love it. You should come and check it out. So I did. And I was pleasantly surprised for many, many reasons. And we're about to dig into those today.
So, one of the points you touched on is transactional. Like I think every time I go to these sorts of events, they shove the term know, like, trust down your throat, and it becomes this like cult-like mantra that, for most people, they're like, oh, I've done it. I've done the thing. I turned up. I said my 30-second pitch, and I was physically present. Tick, tick, tick. So what? Like that? Yes, you turned up. Yes, you said your thing. No one cares. And if you're going for volume and you go for like 50 interactions, or like the whole speed dating thing, you go around the table and you're told you will know, like, and trust this person. I don't feel like I know them. I pass them on the street. If I sit next to them at the bus stop and we happen to talk for 2 minutes, doesn't mean I'm going to go and do a $20,000 deal with them.
That's right.
There's a big gap between acquaintance and someone you would actually do business with. And particularly when it comes to like the referral piece, where these people, where you go to a networking event and that it's surface level, and that the people there, if they happened to introduce you to somebody else, that your surface level with them and their surface level with the other person, they don't have this like deep connection where they've worked together for X amount of years or any of that sort of thing. And so it just doesn't work. But I think there's another nuance to it, is that you need to have relationships that scale effectively because they're high value, not just because we did it because we were told we should. So instead of just going and shaking 1,000 hands and knowing them for 5 seconds, you find people who are incredibly well connected. And even if they're not, you can build a team of people that are incredibly well connected. This is more of an investment of time and of leverage to be able to go and build those connections to people that are connected. And if they're not, you train them on how to be connected. You train them on the right, culture and values in making those sort of networks. And then you build an exponential network, because then they can build their team, and then they build their team. And so it just goes down in this ever expanding tree. So if that's sort of my concept on that, because you said you liked the concept of that, find connected people. What are your reflections on that?
So it's almost the opposite of transactional in my mind. So here's how I picture it. So we've got this group of people, and we all want to, and I forget the phrasing you use, Avon, but it's basically means rising tide lifts all boats. So if we all teach each other how to be connected, and we connect with other people who are well connected, there's this come with me energy, instead of like do a deal with me, or like I'm going to sell you something. And it's very, very different. And having that community where you're building each other up, and you're looking for opportunities for each other, you can't not go faster. Instead of just looking for that one opportunity, like needle in a haystack style. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And, I often prefer to try and hear other people say it back to me. One, I know that what I'm saying makes sense to somebody out there. And, you know it when you feel it. When you're in the moment that you go, this is some person who's turned up to a networking event that has this persona, like a shroud over them. And as soon as they step out, they're going to take it off and they're going to go back to being their usual self, whether that's a selfish self or whether that is a giving and helpful kind of self, or even maybe they're just, not really out there to do anything other than what's in their own sphere. Like they're just in their own little world and they don't want to operate outside that. And so I think you need to be quite selective on the type of person that you connect with. You need to find someone that is genuinely more of a partner rather than, someone who you're just looking at as, they're doing a box ticking exercise. I turned up, I said my pitch, now give me my referral and I'm going to leave. And I think that word referral is problematic, particularly when you have groups, and they're often franchise groups or like a license model where they're incentivizing these metrics, like how many people did you bring in, or how many people did you refer this month. And yeah, I get the premise behind that metric, and that works for a certain type of business. I think the types of business that works for is lawyers, accountants, mortgage brokers, and tradies, because they're highly transactional, and it's got nothing to do with the real value that that person might bring. And they might bring a reasonably good measure of value, but that's exactly the same. And they can really only ever deal with a set of clients that are of a particular size. At a certain scaling point, they're capped. These are professions that are regulated, and so they couldn't really feasibly scale to like 20,000 customers. They're probably done at 100. So that kind of transactional nature, as long as their book is full, they're fine. They don't really want to go much further. Whereas other types of businesses that want to move more strategically, it's not about the referral, because I could sit here all day and pitch, 20 hours or whatever, and get a client. Or I can find a partner that is well connected, that has conversations related to what I do on a very regular basis, and then have an endless stream of clients already informed in what I do and ready to go, that have trust by proxy. And I don't have to spend 20 hours with them. I can spend 3 hours with them, because they're primed and ready. Or because, that I come with a level of trust. I don't have to justify myself as hard. That is much more effective. So then if I do pick up 50 clients from that person, then I'm spending 150 hours instead of, 200, 300 hours worth of time trying to kind of close the same deals.
Exactly. And it's just, I know you're being very pragmatic and practical, but it's just better energy as well, right? Who wants
It's not as forced.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You don't turn up and go, well, you didn't bring your referrals this month, we're going to slap you around the wrist and kick you out the door. And or like the whole thing of having one set person for that particular category. Now, the problem I have with that is, what if they're crap?
Literally.
A bad human, like you've got no choice, but you have to refer to that person. So rather, it's probably better that you find more people, have more of a deeper connection and trust. Don't have a barrier on the type of people. Obviously, there's a caveat to that. We have a banned list, but also we don't want a toxicity of one particular type. So, we might constrain a certain type of entry, because we don't want to just end up with all, I don't know, mortgage brokers or all lawyers, right, or all accountants. Mm-hmm. The single type of person in the community isn't helpful to what we're trying to do, which is not the whole referral piece, is by proxy the strategic connections piece, but predominantly is to build a body of knowledge and help everybody go faster to using technology and teaching scaling, how to scale the business. And that is where the value is for us. So I guess if I say banned list, what does that make you think of? I've got something to bring up on screen, but you tell me.
Yes. Well, the first time Paul mentioned it to me, to bring Paul up again, I thought he meant like the band, like the guitarist and the drummer. But no, team, it's BANNED. So the band list. So when I had that clarification, I was like, oh goodness. So who's not allowed behind the red velvet rope? And Avon's about to share with us.
So let me share my screen for this part. All right. So I guess the band list came as a result of going to a number of events where I just felt like it was a waste of time. And,
Right.
in business, time is one of the things, time is a valuable thing.
Absolutely.
You watch it fly by as the pendulum swings. So what you need to do, and that's a Linkin Park line in a song. So,
Love it.
So basically, if you're trying to build your business, you're flat out trying to do everything else. You don't have, to sit around in conversations that are not valuable. Like the whole Elon Musk thing of, if you're part of this meeting and you're not contributing or you're not getting value, just leave. No one's going to feel any less of value of that. I mean, there's two sides to every story. You've got to try and build value where there is nothing. But if it's obvious and immediate that there is no value, then you shouldn't really continue the conversation. So that's kind of what we've done here. So this is part of the community, and you can find that's on the landing page. We'll get into that in a little bit more.
Nice.
But the band list, and ideally, we want to put a little bit of a block up to certain types of connections. Now, it's okay to be these things. It's just not okay to be these things in the Relevate community. We're very focused on who we are and who we're not. And the reason why we sort of came to this is that, and we keep adding to the list on a regular basis. But the point is, sometimes you really just want to get on with the job. You just want to be serious and be focused on what it is that you're doing. I went to a networking event where you're supposed to hand out your cards and you pair up with somebody, and you hand out your number one and you swap, and then you have a 10-minute conversation with them, and then you've got a number two card, and then once you finish the first one, you go to that person. And anyway, I'd given out the two cards, and I get to the third card left, and I was a bit slow on the uptake. Everybody else is boom, they're up, grab someone and sit down. I was a bit slow, and then they're like, "Who's got a number three?" I was like, "Oh crap, that's me." Life coach. I have no interest in talking to a life coach. I know how to breathe. I know how to laugh. I know how to. If I want to bend a spoon, I can. I don't want to do it with my mind. I have things that I want to achieve, and it is about scale and growth. It is not about sitting around and feeling good about myself. That's not the problem I have. So in order to be focused, like if you want that, go to that group. I went to another networking event where you'll notice here there was, where is it? People who use legitimate scientific terms to mask spiritual or related services. One guy gets up and seemed legit, and I would say he is, and he's like, "I've got a quantum physics degree," and this other lady's like, "Oh, I do quantum physics too," but not like this sciencey kind, more like the spiritual kind. Like, now I just feel lied to. So we have a ban list and we enforce it. In fact, we say at the start, we don't accept any of these types of people. If that's you, leave now. So anyway, I think it becomes a little bit humorous. It could seem a little bit, rude, but if you're not selective about the people you surround yourself with, then you're not really gonna, grow in value yourself. So if you are who you surround yourself with, be selective. Let's put our money where our mouth is and do it. So I'm just going to quickly run through this. So if you go to join.relevate.com.au, so there's the link there, a little bit easier to see. This is our landing page, just to kind of give you an indication of what it is that we're doing. So we have a banned list and we proactively weed out time wasters. This is about strategic growth, not forced referrals. So what we're trying to do is solve real problems, get to the point, So you can see this lovely face here, someone who's also had some value from the community and, helping out here today. I really appreciate it. So the idea, I think, we take a digital transformation lens, because if we're going to be doing growth, you need to use systems. This is the world we live in. If you don't have it, you're done for. Now with AI ripping through industry, it's more important than ever to at least have a grasp of the basics. So we do bring that as our lens to all of this, but it's certainly not the be all and end all of what we're trying to achieve here. I think realistically, bringing solid people together that are purpose driven, that know what they're doing, are good at it, and if they're not, I'm sorry, well, there's the door. So the idea is not to have group therapy, not a mindset group, no pitches. Sales happen; they happen a lot, but they happen because someone saw value, not because they were pushed into it.
100%.
Not a collection of coaches, and no spammy topics like crypto and things like that. So yeah, that's the community as a whole. And we have a bit of a code of conduct: transparency, quality over quantity. We don't want people for growth's sake. We want to make sure that the people we're bringing through, and we give people a chance. So it's not like you come in and we're going to boot you out the door the moment you step foot in there. If people are moldable, people can change, people can be shown the right way. If they've been shown the wrong way, we need to give them a chance. But if there's no showing you, I'm sorry, but there will be a quick exit. Yeah. All right. So then we've got that's pretty much the landing page. Now there is a bit more to the community, and we'll jump into that in a sec. But we're looking at growing just a little bit bigger. So this is a growth group. This is a scale group. It's not about just doing your own business. You might want to step out one day. You want to might make it a saleable asset. You might want to turn it into an international enterprise. So we've got a global tier where we're starting to break out, and we've now got partnerships in the US with people that can help with getting established in that market, as well as a couple of expeditions to these places to physically go set foot. So this one is for our Indian expedition. So a bit of a digital detox, go to temples, go and see the Taj Mahal, go hang out in our office for a bit. We could do a few touristy things, and then go and see the sites and things like that, and just understand how business operates, how people work in different countries, and broadly expand your mind to what's possible. So that's it for now. While I get some other notes ready, do you have any questions on that?
Looks amazing. So entrepreneurs expeditions, you've teased us there. Do we have a date locked in?
So I'll be running those a few times a year. So it's a wait list, and we'll let people know when. So generally in the months where it's not stupidly hot or stupidly cold. Yes. So probably around March, April, and then August, October. Cool. So and that would potentially be both for the US and or for India. So around those times of year, if there is things that pop up that are a bit more, like if there's an important event, for example, like a mastermind with an opportunity too good to miss, then we'll bring that one up, bring that one forward as well.
Ooh, smart. Where can they find the wait list before you move on, Avon? Where will they find the wait list if they're interested?
I can put it in the comments. At the moment, I've only got the Indian one available. So if you go to join.relevate.com.au/discover-India, but I will put it in, I will post a comment live now, or I can. So that one's gone out on YouTube and Facebook. And then if I put it on the banner real quick, banner, you can see it there.
Beautiful.
All right, here we go, doing things on the fly. So if we're a little bit jumpy and not as well cut and edited, we apologize. All right. So that's pretty much the I guess, a bit of the vision. There is a defense community as well that's a little bit more focused on trying to help businesses get into the defense industry. So that is, demystifying government contracts, how to get security clearances, what is the major roadblocks, what to consider when you're doing these giant, contracts that could be worth 50 million, 100 million plus, and how to get involved, where to go, where to look, how to start all your accounts to start finding it, sifting through like hundreds of government websites and thousands of government white papers with thousands of pages each. So rather than go through all of that, we'll give you the TLDR. Too long didn't read. So
excellent.
All right, without going too hard into, I guess, the sales pitch, if you will, I guess what we wanted to really do here is just kind of like open the doors on what it is that we're up to. And, we can jump into the portal in a second, but I guess just from that, like, obviously there's a lot going on. I think it's all off the same core and backbone of small companies that want to go big probably also need to think about going global. Small companies that want to go big also want to think about complex contracts with major suppliers.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a part of evolution. This is just a part of being able to get out of your small little blinkers and see the bigger world. And at the end of the day, it's not meant to be denigrating to anybody who's, stuck in, founder mode. But to go from founder mode to CEO and board member mode, there's quite a few things you need to get in place. And that's kind of what we're trying to achieve. So, I don't know, do you have any thoughts or questions on that?
No, I was just contemplating what you said. Certainly when I first encountered the community, I was definitely in founder mode. And I'm like, so much I've put in place since I joined, which was less than 6 months ago. Even.
And
yeah.
what, I guess, as a rough guide, what percentage of that did you know before was contributed to by the value of the community?
This is a good question. I think, so part of it is being around the right people that, like I said, that kind of come with me energy, not, I've been in coaching programs and community groups and networking groups before where I just get told I'm doing it wrong all the time. That's not how you do it. You have to do it this way. Whereas Relevate has been the first time it's okay, well, if you want to do it that way, how do we do it that way in the best possible way? So just very different. So for me, it was about that. Also, a little bit of reminding of what I probably already know and was probably telling my clients, but needed to be told myself. And then systems and processes and things that you wouldn't be aware of to go to that next level unless you're at the next level. So you need someone who's been there, done that to share that with you. Does that make sense? Is that helpful?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's a good reflective, just to understand the things that we're doing right, the things that, and hey, if you think about it, zoom out a second, this is a little bit of reverse coaching in the sense that if I'm running a business, I'm going to create a customer community. I'm going to ask them what they do that is, as a result of our product or service. Is it working? What's not working? What's the feedback? So this is kind of the sort of thing where, like you said, the come with me energy. I'm not forcing anybody to do a particular thing. It's just probably more about asking the right questions.
Spot on.
Starting to, challenge ideas, not saying you're wrong. Be like, well, here's an example where that didn't work for this type of people. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do something that didn't work for somebody else. It could just mean that the context was wrong. So I think in terms of where the community is going and what we're trying to build on the back end is also a little bit of like that 24/7, 365 ability to communicate, collaborate, and learn. So why don't I bring up the portal just quickly? I think technically you did see a bit of it when I had the not suitable for. So let me share my screen again. So in the community portal, when you join, you get access to the our community portal, and in there we've got, this is the band list, but this comes from the knowledge base. which has got a heap of articles on, like helping people to connect in the community, helping to build relationships there. We've got a couple hundred members. So we can go to, not there. We need to go this one. So yeah, we've got quite a few people in here that are, constantly going through and answering questions, asking questions, providing insights. We've got regular events that we run. We've got videos that we place in here. There's the search, how to find information in the community.
We got to call that out, Evan. That's one thing that has frustrated me in the past when I've had a particular question. And like you say, a lot of us are operating, we might be up at 2 a.m. needing a solution to something. You can search for it in the Relevate community. And even if it's not there, you can ask a question. So there's a feature there where you can ask a question and have the community weigh in for you. So everything is searchable. And Avon's going to show us how to ask a question.
Yeah, so in the new post, you can just ask a question. And then once you add the right space, you add a tag to it, which is, question or something like that. And as you can see, I've got a heap of notifications and some private messages there. So, there's always some activity going on. Just think of it as our own private LinkedIn. But effectively, the stuff that's in here is not pictures. It's not selfish junk. It's content that is actually going to help you move the needle. So if you've got a specific problem, the idea is that we answer with a video or something a little bit more long-term in terms of the knowledge that is provided, written down. That way, if we provide it in your context, like say, if a question is asked, you might have people contribute with, I tried this, but it didn't work. Now that's useful because now we know it didn't work. So like Thomas Edison found 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb. So each of those ways is now one less way you're going to try. So if it was the 10,001 time to make the light bulb, then we need those experiments listed out. So that can be a number of challenges that are a little bit more deep and contextual. And sometimes there's no clear answer to a thing. It might be that there's a gray area and several things can work, but we know that these 3 things definitely won't work. So you're going to save hours and hours and hours of pain and frustration trying that thing that's definitely not going to work. And then you've got 2 or 3 answers that kind of work. You know what I mean? Like sometimes that's like staff related, or it's like dealing with a customer, or it's imperfect information that you can't really solve effectively.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think the long-term deep knowledge there, and there's courses, there's sections there. We've got a launch area, which is for like startups.
Yes.
We've got an accelerator, which is for businesses turning over more than 6 figures. We've got up level, which is like more advanced topics for people looking to sort of scale and grow. And then one-to-one programs in quantum, as well as the global area and the defense area, which are more like separate work groups for if you're specifically looking to try and achieve that thing. So if you're trying to go more global, then join the global group. If you're trying to be more get into defense industry or government, then you should join the defense and government space. So I think we tick a lot of boxes. I think we share a lot of value, and companies that are trying to go into defense probably need the digital transformation side, because they're whilst one side is all contracts and documents and supply. If they get an order for 20 million washers for a whole bunch of fighter jets, then they need the systems to be able to ramp up the people, the technology, the materials, that sort of thing, the production line.
Absolutely.
So I think we've done a good bit of a tour here and a good bit of a deep dive. I think in terms of what we can show, I think in terms of the high level of what we're trying to achieve, that's probably the deepest we've gone as like an outward facing video, as in live stream.
Definitely.
I think if we were to go any further, we'd probably, I guess, not bore people, but there's a lot of information in there, and it can be like a fire hose.
Absolutely.
And
From
so
experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we sort of pair people up with a mentor within the system.
Yes.
So that, you're not alone on the first day. You don't just get chucked at this thing and good luck and see you later. We have a couple of sessions to kind of walk you through where to find things, who the right people are to connect with, and importantly, proactively try to connect you with the right people. So really spend time to deeply understand you, what you're trying to achieve, and find the right guidance with, or even introductions with people who are going to help you move the needle, whether it be from, not necessarily someone you sell to, someone that can advise you. There's plenty of people that I work with that I'll never buy from or sell to, but they are amazing referrers.
There you go.
But again, it's not always
Layers and
about
layers.
yeah, it could just be advice about a particular region or industry that you're trying to get into, or solving a particular problem that you didn't know how to do, or starting a new product line, or starting a new service line. And these are the things that make you think differently. If you're mixing with your own vertical, then you've got no way to learn from different industries.
That's it.
So
That's it.
it's that cross collaboration where the real innovation occurs.
That's where the magic happens.
All right, I think we are pretty well done and dusted for another fantastic episode of the Relevate live stream.
That may be true, but I'm not letting you get away with not talking about your big news this week, good sir.
Oh, yeah, I forgot it. I wrote it down too, and I skipped over that point. So if you've been watching, I did a live stream the other night. It was at 1 a.m. I was hoping it would be earlier in the evening, but we made it to 100,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Woo!
So
good.
So that's after many years of hard work trying to, pump out videos. And most of those videos are about, have been in the community, just like answering questions that people have. So it's solving real problems, not trying to come up with some, flashy marketing. So I don't necessarily have Steven Spielberg edits on my videos, but I produce value in terms of answering people's questions on, what should I do in this scenario or that scenario. Some of it is very technical, some of it's more conceptual, but that's what I found has been useful for me. Now, it's interestingly enough that whilst 100,000 means you get the silver play button, YouTube hasn't figured out that that we deserve the play button just yet, and they won't do that for another 1 to 4 weeks. The reason
1 to 4 weeks, goodness.
Yes. And the reason being is because they've probably only got one like webhook API in the background that fires off once every 7 days, because to do any more is more of a server load that they're trying to minimize. And then they've got some intern sitting on a desk reading through 20,000 applications for these silver play buttons. And then as soon as you do, and they click a button and you get this pop-up in your little portal, like this happened 48 hours ago that I got it. So of course, no one's looked at it yet. I'll have my little pop-up in the portal, and then it'll say, you can buy your silver play button, which is actually you pay for the shipping. So Google, whilst they make a lot of money,
couldn't spring for the shipping. Come on.
Spring for the shipping. Yeah. So
that's okay.
It's on its way, I'm sure. So once we get that sorted, and I'm sure it'll go by the cheapest means, the longest time possible. But you will see something up here. I'll make it visible, and we'll have gotten there. We've made that milestone.
Excellent. Very exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you. All right. Well, enough about me. Let's talk about you. What are you looking forward to coming up in the Relevate community?
Look, I always love the in-person catch-ups. Like, as much as I love, yes, as much as I love being able to work from anywhere, I guess is the best way to put it, which is, the freedom that part of my business affords me to be able to do. There's nothing like catching up with awesome humans, talking business, solving problems, having breakfast. What's wrong with that situation? It's all amazing.
So I'm also flying to Melbourne to run a community face-to-face just off Flinders Street, or just like across the road from Flinders Street Station.
Nice.
I'm planning one in Sydney, just again across the road from Central Station there, just because it's easy to get in the airport to the station to the place.
Fair, yes, smart.
And And then I'm also planning, or we have already run a face-to-face catch-up in India. So we'll have to run one. There might be a Thailand one soon, and maybe there is talks of moving into, obviously through the global tier, creating a community in South America. One in India is already kind of in the works.
Yes.
Potentially one in the Middle East and one around Thailand. So that's, if we're going to go global, then we're going to do it all guns are blazing. So you need to move hard, rapidly, and hard and fast, and actually go and establish it. Because if you don't spend time, quickly going and establishing a solid base, then it's not going to effectively be sticky or stay there.
That's so true. That's so true.
All right, so I think that'll do our peeps for today. So if you're watching, feel free to click in the link, have a little bit of a read, find out more about the Relevate community. We've told you a fair bit here today, but that'll just tell you a little bit more about the intent. If you've got any other questions, you can whack them in the chat, send them through to myself. Thank you, Apple Mac.
I know.
And we'll catch you next time. So in the meantime, you stay classy.
Always. See you, team. Thanks for tuning in.